There's a certain kind of man women can't forget, and this kind of man is rare. Because most guys either collapse to please or overcompensate to impress. Here's what no one tells you. It's not kindness that women fear. It's control they can't gain. And the men they struggle to control the most are the ones who are emotionally intelligent, not just smart, not just sensitive, but sharp, calculated, calm. See, a woman isn't afraid of a man who expresses feelings. She's afraid of a man who knows how he feels, why he feels it, and doesn't let anyone else use it against him. She's afraid of a man who doesn't overreact, doesn't chase, doesn't try to please just to keep the peace. A man who sees the game and plays it better than she does. Because that man can't be manipulated, can't be tested, can't be pushed into a corner emotionally. He doesn't explode when provoked. He doesn't beg when ghosted. He watches. He adjusts. He moves with precision. That's emotional intelligence. And when it's combined with masculine calm, it becomes dangerous. In this video, you're going to learn how to become the kind of man who doesn't get manipulated, doesn't get emotional for nothing, and doesn't get forgotten. We'll break down 6 traits that make emotionally intelligent men so powerful, so rare, and so unforgettable to women. You'll learn exactly what to do, how to think, how to move, how to respond, to become the man she can't bend, and the man she never sees coming. Don't skip anything. Each trait builds on the next. Miss one, and you stay stuck in the same patterns. Master them all, and you change the entire way women experience you. Let's break it down. 1. You recognize emotional games and don't react to them. Here's a situation many couples face. You're in a relationship, and she starts acting cold, distant, pulls back affection, maybe to test you. Most men either panic, begging, over-explaining, trying to fix things immediately, or shut down completely, becoming cold themselves. But the emotionally intelligent man doesn't fall into either trap. He pauses. He feels the shift. He observes it without reacting emotionally. Then he acts from clarity, not fear. Women fear that, not because it's toxic, but because it's powerful, because it means you can't be baited. You won't dance to emotional strings. You see the play for what it is. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you centered. As Machiavelli would put it, he who controls himself is harder to conquer than a city. In a world full of men who react fast, who get defensive, emotional, or angry at the slightest push, the man who stays calm becomes rare. While others raise their voice, explain themselves, or try to prove a point, he stays quiet. Steady, controlled. Not because he doesn't care, but because he refuses to be pulled into chaos he didn't create. And when a woman sees that, she doesn't see weakness. She sees power she can't bend. 2. You don't beg for validation because you've already chosen yourself. The emotionally intelligent man doesn't seek love like it's oxygen. He values it. He welcomes it. But he's not starving for it, because he already knows his value. Picture this on a first date. She makes a comment to test you, maybe a little dig at your ambition, your appearance, or your past. Most guys nervously laugh it off, hoping to stay in her good graces. But the intelligent man smiles. He pauses and says, "Interesting comment." Then he moves on. Doesn't defend, doesn't explain, doesn't collapse. That calm restraint is magnetic. Because it signals one thing. You don't need to be liked to feel valid. You've already chosen yourself. This is where Machiavelli whispers wisdom only few will ever master. He who seeks to please will always serve. In other words, the moment you make her opinion your anchor, you've already given away control. But the man who knows who he is doesn't feel the need to explain himself. He doesn't argue to be understood. He doesn't perform to be liked. If she makes a comment to test him, he doesn't react. He lets it slide, like wind passing by. Why? Because he's not trying to earn her approval. He already approves of himself. And that kind of calm confidence, women feel it instantly. Because while most men try to impress, he just is, grounded, clear, solid. He doesn't try to be charming. He doesn't try to be liked. He shows up as himself and lets her decide what to do with that. That's not arrogance. That's inner power. And that's what makes him unforgettable. 3. You read her without needing to control her. One of the most terrifying things for a woman who's used to emotional control is meeting a man who sees through her. Not to judge, not to manipulate, but to understand. Imagine a long-term relationship. She gets moody, distant, short in her replies. The average man either gets defensive or withdraws. But you ask once calmly, "Is something on your mind?" She says no. You nod. You leave space. Then, later, when the emotion passes, you revisit it. No accusations, just presence. That patience, it disarms her. Because now she realizes she can't use emotion to dominate the conversation. She can't bait you into fights. Because you're not playing defense, you're playing chess. This level of calm awareness is rare, and it's unsettling. Not because it's cruel, but because it removes her favorite weapon, emotional confusion. The emotionally intelligent man replaces tension with transparency, and most people aren't ready for that. 4. You handle conflict without raising your voice. Here's a scene from many relationships. There's an argument. Emotions run high. Voices raise. Accusations fly. But not from you. You speak slowly. You pause before you respond. You ask questions instead of throwing blame. You lead the tone. That scares people who are used to drama, because they can't escalate you. They can't shake your center. You don't win by overpowering. You win by staying in control of yourself. And here's what Machiavelli would say. A prince must learn how not to be good when the situation demands it. Translated to emotional strategy, you know when to be soft, when to be firm, and when to walk away without a word. You don't need chaos to feel alive. You bring peace. And anyone addicted to dysfunction will either evolve to meet you or disappear. Either way, you don't lose. 5. You don't fear her feelings. You guide them and become her safe place. This is where true emotional intelligence becomes undeniable. You're dating someone new. She has a strong personality, maybe even volatile. She tests, she pushes. Most men either avoid confrontation or try to match her energy. But you regulate. You hold eye contact. You validate without submitting. You stay grounded. And she starts to shift. Because your calm becomes contagious. Your emotional leadership becomes her safe space. Most women are used to leading the emotional tempo. But when she meets a man who's not afraid of her storms, who can stand in the fire and still lead with warmth and clarity, she feels something different. Respect, not dominance, not submission. but strength she can relax into. That's what scares her, because she can't control it, but she wants it. 6. You can walk away, without drama, without regret. This is the final form of emotional intelligence, the ability to let go without chaos. In marriage, in long relationships, even in casual dating. There comes a moment where things don't align anymore, and most people explode, blame, break down. But the emotionally intelligent man, he accepts the truth. He grieves privately, and then he moves with clarity. He doesn't slam doors. He doesn't try to win the breakup. He leaves with his dignity intact. And nothing terrifies a woman more than a man who can walk away and not look back. Because it means she never owned him emotionally. He chose to be there. And once the energy shifted, he chose to step away. That kind of power is unforgettable, and it redefines what a dangerous man really is. 6. You can walk away, without drama, without regret. This is the final form of emotional intelligence, the ability to let go without chaos. In marriage, in long relationships, even in casual dating. There comes a moment where things don't align anymore, and most people explode, blame, break down. But the emotionally intelligent man, he accepts the truth. He grieves privately, and then he moves with clarity. He doesn't slam doors. He doesn't try to win the breakup. He leaves with his dignity intact. And nothing terrifies a woman more than a man who can walk away and not look back. Because it means she never owned him emotionally. He chose to be there. And once the energy shifted, he chose to step away. That kind of power is unforgettable, and it redefines what a dangerous man really is. You don't need to raise your voice to be respected. You don't need to beg to be loved. And you definitely don't need to play games to hold someone's attention. What you need is stillness. A mind you command, not one that betrays you. A heart you understand, not one that controls you. A voice that speaks with clarity, not noise. Because when you master your emotions without denying them, when you speak with intention instead of reaction, when you move with calm presence instead of desperate energy, you become a force, not loud, but felt, not predictable, but precise, not cold, but dangerous in the most disciplined, deliberate way. And here's what no one says out loud. A man like that changes the room without having to say a word. Because he doesn't just enter, he anchors. He doesn't just attract, he stirs. He doesn't need to perform, because who he is already commands respect. Women don't fear that kind of man because he's manipulative or cruel. They fear him and crave him because he makes them feel something they can't fake. Safety and challenge, warmth and boundaries, depth without chaos. That kind of presence breaks patterns. It interrupts games. It awakens honesty, sometimes even in people who weren't ready to face it. And that's rare. That's powerful. That's needed. So don't aim to be liked. Don't aim to be chosen. Aim to become grounded, sharp, aware, alive. A man who watches more than he speaks, who listens not to respond, but to understand, who protects his peace like it's a treasure and shares it only with those who earn it. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be disciplined, patient, and driven by something deeper than validation. So take your time, build in silence, sharpen your words. Clarify your values. Master your energy, and let the world adjust to your presence, not the other way around. Because a man who has mastered himself doesn't just rise, he reigns. If this spoke to you, don't just keep it in your head. Write a comment, even just a few words. It helps you remember, and it might help someone else too. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content, and share this with someone who, in your eyes, needs it right now. Just trust your instinct. We're all trying to get clearer, more solid inside. So let's build minds that don't break.